Dun dun dun. Bing bing. Dun dun dun. Bing bing. Dun 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 dun. Bing bing bing. Hey Internet, Skolo here. That title screen was brought to you by Nagia and Satan. They know who they are, and only they know why I remind them of Jerry Anderson puppet shows. But I like those too, so it's okay. And plus you got to hear my wonderful musical skills. Anyway, what I was going to talk about tonight was the Establishment Clause of the Constitution, and how the government not being able to have displays of religion is not infringing upon anyone's particular First Amendment rights. But then I was in the shower and I was thinking that this is actually indicative of a bigger problem, and that bigger problem is identity politics. Gay marriage, abortion, those sorts of things. Stupid things. I'm sure, a lot of people find them important, but in terms of maintaining the republic and actually doing important things, they're not vital at all. Gay marriage. Okay. So, religions say that only men and women can be married, because it's essentially a socio-economic sex contract, in order to enforce monogamy. Okay, so why does the state have anything to do with this? The state should be, you pay your taxes, you're fine. I don't care if you're married to this man or that woman or your cat. Do whatever you want, find whatever church you want to marry yourself, pay your taxes, don't care. Plus, I don't really want a gay marriage, so I'm not going to get one. And I don't see how just essentially establishing a monogamous socioeconomic sex contract somehow demeans it for heterosexual couples. Whatever. Then abortion. Dead babies do not contribute to the defense of the republic. It is not, in a complex world where you'd have to deal with terrorism, the atom bomb, global warming, climate change in general, complex economics through globalization, all of these things which are actually important and impact people's lives on a daily basis in terms of the bigger world around us. Abortion just isn't that important. Women's right to choose, sanctity of life, whatever. I don't really have an opinion on it because I can't have children, so it's not really my place to say. My concern is that through these sorts of, through identity politics, politicians who are actually, I think, surprisingly well-meaning in and of themselves, not all as cynical as we wish to believe. People believe strongly in these sorts of things. But it's a way to simplify arguments in order to push agendas. It's turning politics into, rather than a debate or a discussion on what is the best way to proceed, into essentially a binary argument of either you're for us or against us on this relatively unimportant issue which we are now using to define all social discourse in the country, which I find extremely unacceptable. The issue here, I think, is that people want the world to be simple. It's the same reason why you've got faiths, religions, ideologies in general. People want other people to do their thinking for them. And because actually debating something with two sides and then coming to a consensus is too complex for people to handle, it's too much work, people are lazy, they say screw it and go on with their merry lives. Meanwhile, worrying about things like gay marriage rather than, well, how do we ensure security while maintaining freedom? Or do we not worry so much about security or freedom, and do we just pick one of the two because they're mutually conflicting? What I'm worried about is that this is closing all avenue of reasonable discussion. People can no longer even agree to disagree
much less actually come to a consensus and compromise. The country is built on compromises. It's how democracy works, because individuals will always have different opinions, which will be, and different agendas, which will be naturally conflicting. This happens. And with this identity politic conception, people are basing their entire votes on whether or not someone supports the Second Amendment in terms of a individual right than a collective one, or whether this person supports abortion or does not support abortion, or things like of that nature. And it's silly. It's absolutely silly. Of course, the problem is that how do you break out of this mold when people have been told these issues are important, when in all actuality they generally aren't? They're minutia on the side to the running of a republic. I guess my problem is that I'm coming to this almost with too rational a viewpoint. I think, I might be vaguely liberal in my leanings, some of my leanings. I'm a libertarian socialist. The instant that you figure that one out, you get a cookie. And an internet. Get on that. But the issue, or the concern with me here, is that I want the government to be an engine. I want it to be essentially an amoral, Machiavellian system to achieve an end, which is the greater ordering of society. Now that will generally tend to make it the good guy, because general order of society is a good thing. We bound it inside of its ideals of freedom and free speech and all these things. But in order to enforce that, you get a little hard-nosed at times. Okay, socialized medicine. Yeah, that makes sense. We give you your basic needs for survival, so you're not going to just keel over and die of something easily preventable. And we're going to maintain your basic health, because healthy people are productive people. If you think you need breast augmentation surgery, on the other hand, sorry, it's not in our purview. I don't think that the government should be legislating morality or even really be a moral entity. This gets leery. It's kind of a leery thing, I understand, but I think that if the government stayed in the realm of maintaining social order and helping people to work together, rather than saying this is good, that is bad, then I guess it's the libertarian aspect. Then it would be more logical at the very least. You wouldn't be worrying about the identity politics of, okay, do we support this religion's concept or that religion's concept? It'd be a matter of, we don't care, okay? It's not important to us. It does not affect the overall running of the state. And as it does not affect the overall running of the overall state does not concern itself with it. Of course, the only way for this sort of system to work would be for a well-educated, self-assured, mostly self-sufficient populace to go into the gaps and maintain order in the gaps. So you'd have groups of people who would be able to determine, well, okay, inside our particular social grouping, we do not tolerate, or we will not accept, different thing, we will not accept abortion, but we will be tolerant of other people or outsiders who do, and we will allow free movement from one group to another in order to prevent unnecessary discord. Now, that's never going to work, I know that much. But it makes more sense to me than the current state of, okay, we've got this hot button issue which people will look at emotionally, and so they'll make emotional decisions with absolutely no thought whatsoever regarding anything else. And that bothers me. Emotional decisions are not often the wisest ones. Logic and thought and a rational process will generally lead to better results and more in an emotional sense, a more disinterested result in that if you have to compromise, you will be willing to do so. Unless, of course, through your rationality, you become completely convinced that you are absolutely right. Which is a rant for another time. I have been Scolopendra. This has been my rant. See ya.